Today we're going to talk about wholesaling real estate in 2022, what we're doing, how we're doing, and really anything and everything that just kind of comes up as I tell you where we're at right now. So preference, obviously I run the Military Millionaire community, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, right? Obviously you're watching this. I also run Pere rental properties, and 3 Mustache Shears is a partnership, and 2 Boots is a partnership, and 1 Uncle Deep is a partnership, and the one that we're talking about today, which is Freedom Property LLC, or Freedom Properties. Freedom Properties is I don't like to tell you it's a wholesaling business, it's my off-market deal finding business. So I am trying to find as many deals off-market as humanly possible, and I want to buy all of them. But I can't buy all of them because that's expensive and I need to bring in some revenue in order to justify that. So what we're doing is we are buying as many of these as we can, and the ones that we can't, we're either wholesaling or wholetailing or full-on house flipping, right? And so here's kind of what that looks like. I'll give you the brief overview of like where we're at, let's say over the last month. And then we're gonna dig through some of the systems and some of the terminology and some of the things that you need to be aware of and the pros and cons to all of this in order to help you with questions. And I'm actually thinking about doing like a full-fledged course. And when I say that, I don't do like full crazy, like year-long $20,000 stuff. I mean like a couple $100 that's like you can crush through it in a couple of hours and it'll give you like everything you need to know to start. But it's not going to be like the, like $1 million solution, right? Like you're going to have issues that arise. But we're looking into potentially partnering with some other people to help with those specific issues, or even my partner acquisition manager is looking at maybe doing an acquisition manager boot camp to help train people. So just, whatever. So here's where we're at. Last year probably did, 60, 70,000 gross, nothing crazy. Actually, it's probably a lot more than that, but I had to partner with people, so we probably did closer to 6 figures, but had to partner with some people on some of that, so I didn't get all of it, yada, yada, yada. Right now, what we currently have going right now, under contract, in the works, yada, yada, is, 7 properties. So we have one that we've already purchased that is currently, we're funding the renovation, and then we're going to do a full $90,000 renovation on a property that had a grease fire, turn it into this beautiful 4-2 house in a great location in town. And we may Airbnb it, we may just flip it, right? Just kind of depends on how the numbers shake out at the end and if I feel like managing an Airbnb or not. I have Airbnbs and experience with that, so it really just depends on if this specific property is one that I want to mess with, or if we're just going to flip it and turn, profit. Stand to make 45, 50 grand on that when we're done, once, paying everybody out and doing whatever. We then have 6 others that we are currently under contract on, 4 of which we are wholesaling and 2 of which we are going to purchase and flip. I say that. 2 of which we are going to purchase and renovate, 1 of which we are going to flip, and 1 of which I am going to hold for the long term. And that may change actually, because the one that we were going to flip, I kind of like more than the one that I was excited about holding. So I'm either going to flip-flop that, or maybe I hold both. It really kind of just depends on how we're feeling about everything when we get to that point. Because the beauty of that is it'll take some time for the renovation to be stopped, and by then we can say, okay, hey, look, we really need some cash in the business, so we'll sell that one. Or, hey, we're doing okay still from all these other properties, so we're going to hold both of them, and then we'll still have money to market. Because that's the key, is having the money to market. Spent probably $50,000 in the last quarter on marketing. So wholesaling, depending on how you do it, is not necessarily free and take no money to do, but it can be done, right? If you're the guy picking up the phone and making all the phone calls. All right, now that we've kind of covered where we're at, and on those 4 wholesale deals, we're gonna make, I think, $52,000 in assignment fees, and then, and that's cutting some deals to friends. It actually would have been a lot higher than that if I'd stuck to my guns on all my prices. But, I like to make money with friends. It's more fun that way. So give them a little bit of a margin in there so that it's more worthwhile for them. And then give myself a little bit of a margin so that, I still obviously make money on it to keep my business open. All right, so real quick. Wholesaling is like, let's say I tell you, hey, I want to buy your house for $40,000. You say yes. And then I'm like, oh my God, I just got 7 people to say yes, and, or in this case 6, and I can't take all these down on my own. Hey, this one's still a great deal at 50. If you give me 50,000, it's yours. I take the 10,000 for all the marketing and everything else that went into this. Take $10,000 to give them the contract, and then they buy the contract. I assign the contract to them, so I never owned the house. I just had the property under contract and then sold the contract to a friend or another investor, who then, as long as that 50,000 makes sense to them, they buy it, they turn around, they make a great profit, right? So true numbers on one of the ones I did way last year. Trying to remember, I got the fresh numbers now, but trying to think of some of the other ones. So we did one, we bought it for 25, and I think we put like, maybe $1,500 into like just cleaning out all the hoarder stuff, and then we listed it on the market and sold it for like 35. So there's one. That's a wholesale. That's where you actually close on the property and then sell it. Wholesaling, usually it looks somewhere between, well, the industry standard, depending on your market, could be anywhere from like $5,000 to $15,000 per deal. We look for $15,000 for an assignment contract on average. And that's not because we're greedy, because I would rather do 10 deals at $15,000 than 30 deals at $5,000, right? The math is the same, but we are getting a lot more or a lot less deals under contract because we're looking for that bigger margin, and yet we're still making as much, if not more money, but we're not having to like scale to the fact that we're doing 30 deals to make $150,000 in assignment fees. We can do 10, right? So it's a pro and con. We get a lot of offers rejected. Other wholesalers scoop them up. No big deal. But we also have a huge margin. So when we do land a deal, it's a really good one. And we have a lot of wiggle room. And we are holding to around that average $15,000 assignment fee right now. Yeah. So, and the thing there is, like, people think, oh, you're stealing these houses from people that don't have any idea. They know. Like, there are people who, like, their house is trashed, or a tenant destroyed it, or they're moving out of state, or someone died and they just don't want to mess with the house, or we saved someone from foreclosure not too long ago. They were about to get foreclosed on, and we were able to come in and say, hey, we'll buy it for the price of your mortgage. Yeah, you don't make any money, but it's better than getting foreclosed on, and she didn't have enough time to make it to like an actual sale, right? It had to be quick. So it's better than them losing money and having a foreclosure on their record. They just kind of get to start over, right? So, and she had inherited that property. But anyway, so that's kind of the like brief overview of what we're doing, wholesaling. Now here's how that looks. There's a couple different things that we're doing. We are either direct mail or cold calling. I have I just had a second one start, 2 virtual assistants who are both cold callers, and they are literally just picking up the phone and smiling and dialing and asking, hey, do you want to buy or you want to sell your house? Have you ever thought about selling your house? We would love to look at your house if you're interested in selling your house. Whatever, right? That's that conversation. They have a whole script. If somebody's interested and it seems like there's enough wiggle room in there, like they're between their how much is left on their mortgage and their asking price and whatever, then we will go and look at the house, and really, depending on condition, we'll make an offer. And what we're normally looking for is to buy for whatever the after repair value is. So like if you fix this thing up like HGTV house flip ready, whatever that number is, 70% of that minus the repairs it'll take to get there minus our wholesale fee. So break that out for you. Say the house is going to be worth $100,000. We'll keep this easy. If it's going to be worth $100,000 when all is said and done, we are looking for, and I said 70, we're actually making our offers off 75 right now. So we'll say 75%. So $100,000, we are looking to buy that for 75%. So $75,000 minus repairs. So if it takes, let's say it would have taken $20,000 in repairs to get it to that price. Okay, so that puts us from $75,000 to $55,000. So now we're offering $55,000 plus whatever our wholesale fee is. So we will offer, our maximum offer on that is like $40,000. That's a steep discount. We're buying it for 40 cents on the dollar, but it's going to need $20,000 in work. Okay, they probably don't have that money. So now we're at 60 cents on the dollar all into this property. Then we take our 15%, give it to a flipper, they make 30%. That's kind of how it works. Now there's some other math in there, whatever. But the benefit with this is that, and the reason that we started doing this is that if we lock a property up and we keep it, it is a great deal, right? We are buying things for, 75% minus repairs. So we do the repairs, so 75% minus that $15,000. If we decide to keep it, we might not make that $15,000, but it's cooked in. So then that same house is actually on that one, it might be, 75. It might actually be that we were into it for 60% of the value of the house that we have when we're done with it. And then I can refinance and pull out some money and still own the house, or just leave it with equity, right? So lots of different options there. Again, these are properties that have code violations. They've got federal tax liens that are about to get closed out. They've got foreclosures looming. They've got, like, we are not going after the new married couple and saying, give me your house. Oh my God. We're going after, like, your tenant destroyed your house. You haven't paid taxes in 3 years. You're falling behind on your mortgage. The person who owned the house just died and you live out of state and your tenant's not paying you. Like, those are the kinds of people we're going after. We're looking to solve a problem. Hey, look, we are not the best offer for everybody. Yes, it's a low offer, but we can close very quick. We can close cash, and we can problem solved. And a prime example of that is we had one under contract right now, just happened today. We were going to do some weird seller financing and all these other things to help them. So it's going to be like $5,000 down, $300 a month for 12 months, and then $11,400 or whatever the remainder of that is at the end of that 12-month period, for a total purchase price $20,000. They wanted to leave the state. House wasn't in great shape, needed a lot of work, and they were like, we need to be gone. And the lender wasn't really feeling like playing ball on us taking over the mortgage. And this is not a bank loan. This is from some other investors in town. Ironically, I think one's like the mayor of that town. Small town is what it is. They weren't super interested in playing ball on the actual, like, you know, us taking over the mortgage. They were like, nah. So the family, the lady, or I actually don't know if it was the lady or the husband, literally messaged us and said, hey, what if we drop it to $17,000 and you just pay us cash and we just do that? I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, okay. All right, so like right there, another $3,000 discount, which I then turned to the person who was under contract to buy it and said, hey, I got it down $3,000. I'll give you $1,500 off your total price, and I want the other $1,500 of that $3,000 for negotiations. Cool. So now my fee went up from, in this case, it was a friend, like a homie hookup, from just really a property that I didn't want to take down because it was in a city about 20 minutes away. My crew wasn't going to be able to get there. It would have made sense if we'd taken all 3 properties down in that area, but we sold the other 2, so then I was like, well, I got to sell this one too. So I went from, hey, I'm going to make $5,000 gross on that one to, okay, I'm going to make $6,500 gross on that one. And he went from paying $25,000 for the property to $23,500. So win. And the lady, you know, they had already moved out of state, and they were like, oh my God, we just want this to be done. Please, like, if you come down to 17, pay us cash. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll write you a check for $17,000. Problem solved. Now, in a lot of these, you're right. I'm, just so you know, like, we are doing private money. So, like, I got a friend lending us $164,000 to purchase 2 properties and renovate both those properties. I'm going to pay him 10% interest, and then we're going to renovate the properties, give him his money back real quick. It's actually his second and third loan working with us. So, you know, he knows us and trusts us, and it'll be good. So that's kind of what we're doing. So some of the systems, right? So we are sending letters. We are targeting, I'm using REI Sift to pull all of my data together. So we're looking up code violation lists and tax liens and vacant properties and death certificates from the county and all these things, pulling all that data together. And then we are uploading all of that to REI Sift. Each list gets uploaded with its own tag, and that sifts it down from like the 90,000 records that I have currently in REI Sift to like, hey, these 900 all have at least 3 things wrong with them. Okay, well, those 900 are going to get a letter every month for 6 months. Like, it's like a letter and then 5 or 6 postcards, right? So that's kind of the system on that, is just mail. And sometimes we do much more mail. Right now I'm sending out 900 like full letters, like 1-page letters in like full envelopes that are to apartment and RV park and mobile home park owners specifically. Like, it took a while to get through all the LLCs to find the actual owners themselves. And we're going to send them all out and say, hey, like, I want to buy your mobile home park. I want to buy your apartment. I want to buy your RV park. Like, call me. Those ones all have my personal cell phone number on them. Those are it's a very different beast than a distressed house, but it's the same concept, right? Sending that mail. We're also simultaneously calling these lists. So that's the direct mail side of like, hey, I really want to get a hold of you, you know, or the not direct mail, the cold calling side of picking up the phone and calling. From there, assuming somebody either calls in to us from the letter or says yes to wanting an appointment on the cold calling, then at that point it gets inputted into RE Simply, which is our CRM, our customer relationship management tool. So that is where we track if a property is like no contact made, meaning they called in and hung up, or contact made, like we actually had a physical conversation with them, and then appointment set, offer made, under contract, closed, or fell out of contract, right? And so we move them through this pipeline. So the goal is every lead we put in, we get to an appointment or an offer made, preferably both. But if we can't get them to an appointment, we at least make them an offer and then move on, right? So we're trying to get like follow up, and we've got automated campaigns in there where we say, hey, this person called in from here, here's where we're at, boom, and it sends text messages or sends emails or whatever. We could even send ringless voicemails, but I'm not a huge fan of that. And so we could do all these different things to just stay on top of those people and get them to say either take me off your list, totally fine, and we do take them off our list, or yeah, I'm interested, come out and take a look at the property, right? And then we look at it, we tell them, hey, here's where we're at. And they say, yes, we're interested. No, we're not interested. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And, if they say no right now, we just follow up. And if they say yes, then we go into contract, try to sign it right then and there. And then at that point, we either decide we're going to close it, we're going to wholesale it, whatever we're going to do. So that's kind of the marketing quick synopsis. Now, those appointments, I need to do a video with my acquisitions manager. We're going to walk through these appointments in detail with you guys, but it's important to build rapport and really talk to them about their situation and the property and learn the property and learn their situation and get to know them and figure out what's wrong with it and what's their real pain point, right? Because most people aren't going to say, yeah, sure, give me 40% of what my house is worth after repairs without knowing how much those repairs are going to cost, whether or not they're ever going to get to it, what their actual pain point is for needing to move or sell the property. And we go through that appointment, we make the offer. Generally speaking, we're asking them to name a price first, right? You don't want to just throw a number out there. You want to, see what they're looking for, and then kind of go back and forth. And I got some videos on negotiations, a lot of good books out there, like Never Split the Difference, book on negotiating real estate. So look at some of those, and you can kind of learn that game. And so we're just going back and forth and having a conversation. And so, what we do, I use PropStream, which I've got a bunch of videos on, so I'll make sure to link to some of those. PropStream is probably my favorite platform that I use for all this, and I pull all my lists from PropStream. And so I pull all my data and my lists, and you can source and search who's an absentee owner that owns a house and they live out of state and the house is vacant and it's got, they own it free and clear, right? You can search all kinds of crazy, really niche down lists. So I use PropStream for probably 90% of my lists. And then I use REI Sift for compiling all those lists and really shaking out which ones I should be spending the money to mail to. And then I use Ballpoint Marketing for all my direct mail. And by the way, and this is a shameless plug, they just told me this. So if you use the code MilitaryMillionaire10, that's all one word, you'll get 10% off your first order of Ballpoint. Yeah, I get a kickback too, but so you get 10%, I get 10%. Woo. I use them for all my direct mail, have all year, love them. In fact, if you, fair warning, if you Google them, you will probably see my face showing up as commercials for Ballpoint because I have run a bunch of commercials for them. They came out and filmed a bunch of stuff, and big fan, big believer. So PropStream, REI Sift, Ballpoint Marketing, and then so we pull the list from PropStream, upload it to REI Sift, source it down, send it off via Ballpoint for mailers, or and calling them, and then from there, okay, so we got all this stuff done. It comes in through the system. That's RE Simply. That's my CRM, and I'm going to link to all this down below. And then we just work the leads. And then ultimately, once you're under contract, you decide whether you're going to buy it yourself or wholesale it to another investor. And you just got to make sure your numbers are right. And, whatever worst case scenario, you close it, list it on the MLS, and sell it as is, right? Or you flip it, or you hold it, or there's so many options. As for financing, like I mentioned, a lot of this is private money. So it's talking to people about what you're doing. We pay our investors. It really depends. If it's a shorter hold, I'll do a point or two, depending on the risk associated with that hold. If it's a longer hold, we usually just do interest. I'm currently doing 10% interest, 1.10% interest. Looking to get closer to that 8% mark, but I also want it to be worthwhile to friends and family and investors to lend us money. And so we borrow the money to buy it, renovate it, whatever, and then I refinance it under my bank. There's not a seasoning period with my local bank, so I can refinance that. We've done 2 so far where I used private money to buy it and refinanced. Both were less than 60 days from purchase to refi. And then we've done some with renovations, which is a longer story. and I don't know what I'm missing. So the name of the game here is to buy properties off market at a discount, and that's how you win in the market like this, right? Because you're buying stuff at such a good discount that long term, it's okay if the market takes a dip. If I am $60,000 into a $100,000 house and the market takes a 50% dip, I'm still a little bit underwater, but not like if I paid $100,000 for it. And that thing's gonna cash flow like a king, at least in my market. So yeah, and this works in all markets. Wholesaling can work in expensive markets and not expensive markets. There's ups and downs and goods and bads and uglies and whatever. If you're really serious about jumping into wholesaling, I recommend that you check out either my friends Bill Allen at 7-Figure Flipping or Ryan Dossey with Create Cashflow CCF, which is the group that I'm personally in. That kind of just depends on your personality. They're both solid groups. Happy to make an introduction to either for you. And CCF, like I said, is the one that I'm in with Ryan Dossey. He's phenomenal, super genuine guy. And then Bill Allen obviously is the guy who I host Veterans REI Live with, and he hosts Flip Hacking Live. So both have a ton of ups and downs. I don't know that either have a ton of downs. They're very beneficial programs and platforms. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's wholesaling in 2022. That's the complete breakdown and the systems I use, and I'll link down below to everything. And then I've got some articles on it. You got questions, hit me up. Happy to help you out. We're planning to make, I don't know, enough. Good 6 figures this year with Freedom Properties. And I say 6 figures, like multiple 6 figures with Freedom Properties. So we're off to a good start. By February 10th this year, we will have cleared over $50,000 in wholesale fees. So I'd say that's a good start. Hopefully we can keep that consistent. That's including 3 properties that are being renovated for flipping, and between those 3, we're sitting at another probably close to $100,000 in maybe more in gross profit. So yeah. Lots of cool things coming, and that's just one of the platforms, one of the businesses. So if you guys want more information on wholesaling and off-market deals and all that, let me know. Thinking about making a course, haven't decided for sure. So if you're interested, make sure you comment on this video, but definitely make sure you like the video and subscribe if you got something out of this, and share it with friends, right? Help people get out there and hear the good word of real estate. Woo!